but also giving guys a space to be themselves, because we don't really, and that's kind of really the main reason why I started doing my podcast was, I feel like if I can, I'm a guy, and I feel like there's a lot of channels for women to have conversations, or there's a sisterhood. It's actually called a sisterhood. I don't know what our thing is called because we don't really have it. Um, but most of the male friends I've had in my life, the guys, like I saw so much trauma with them, and I saw them struggling to figure things out, and it was always like it was either mentally or spiritually or something they went through. Their dad wasn't there. It was just so many things that did it to them. But I knew they were good guys, and I wanted to be the friend to them that allowed them to I'm always straightforward. That's another reason why it's called sarcastically woke. I'm very sarcastic. Now I wouldn't be in this situation, but I don't really have much of a filter. I kind of say things for how I see it. I don't take sides. I don't judge. I don't see the point of doing it. I think to be able to have a constant mirror in front of your face is the best way to operate in the world, because that way you know what you present to the world. You know what you look like. I can present that to you. I can tell you who I am. But I'm saying it to add to the fact that what you're saying as far as like a safe space for men to come and express themselves, because a lot of guys just don't know how to do it, or don't feel comfortable, or don't have a place to do it, or they might got homeboys like, I can't tell them what she did. I can't say what this happened. I can't tell what she's. Yeah, we could be slacking. We could be messing up. We could be not living up to our potential. And our woman could have told us that we live up to our potential. We're not going to tell our homeboy that we're slacking in whatever department. Like, we don't know how to do it because we feel like we're going to be judged, or not knowing, or not having the right person on your side, or not having your dad there, or not having I don't know. Like, some people don't have their dads, don't have their moms, or they don't have that type of rapport. And it's generational, you know what I mean? Especially living down here, that just the way people view stuff is confuses me, like, you know what I mean? But I think it is good to also that give guys a space, because I don't think we can do this by ourselves. I don't think we're put in this world to be separate. You know what I mean?
Right. I think women do have more healing spaces and are given more space to be vulnerable than men.
Right.
Because, just because, I don't know why. But I feel that whenever men are not able to, be vulnerable or be in there, because everybody has masculine and feminine energy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like one chromosome that determines whether you're going to be a man or a woman. One chromosome off determines that. And I feel like the reason why men are not allowed to be feminine is because women are not in their feminine. Like, I feel like women are made, like, if you're doing something that you don't really want to do and you have to do it, then you don't want other people around you doing what they want to do either. We all gonna do what we don't want to do.
We all gonna be in our masculine.
We all gonna do what we don't want to do. So I feel like if men even though women are the creators, men are the leaders. So if a man allows a woman to be a creator, to be in her feminine, then she will be able to allow him to reciprocate that to him.
Right.
A lot of women are forced to be masculine these days because for whatever reason the man is not masculine enough.
Or it could be that, or a lot of times we can use our mother, for example, how she was a single mother for a certain period of time and she was raising sons.
Yeah.
And with me raising my son, no longer single mother, praise God. But I started off in a single mother, and I know, and I can kind of like look at it now that if I had to continue to be a single mother, I had to be like, whoa, I had to be like really like break yourself, fool. Like, I gotta really be like that. Whoa, like I ain't trying to be that. So I'm like, now I'm just like the dear mother. I can be the dear feminine mother now because he has a stepfather where he can insert that masculine energy. So I can be feminine, because if I did not have a stepfather, a step parent for my son, I'll have to be like Tupac.
So the man in your life allows you to be feminine.
Right.
So you can allow him to be feminine as well.
Yeah.
But if he wasn't allowing you to be feminine, he wouldn't be able to be feminine. He wouldn't be able to express his emotions and be vulnerable to you. Because you're like, wait a minute, I gotta be masculine, you be masculine right with me.
Right, because it's always how I feel. Like, it's a safe space for him to tell me how he's feeling. Like, he can tell me how he feels.
I mean, it is unfortunate that those conditions get created. You know, I would say also in some cases, it's so you say, of course, if I can lead properly, I can allow my woman to feel comfortable, especially if I give her all the things she needs. Like I used to have a partner tell me all the time, well, you know, I don't have the certain funds she's talking about. I'm like, bro, when she talks about security, she's not talking about your money. I promise you, she's not talking about money. She's talking about something completely different. You know, it's something different within us when we walk in our truth. People understand it. They get it. It's an energy that we provide. And I can say for me, even being in a dating pool or what I've witnessed, let's say hypothetically, there's a mother that didn't have a father there, so she's raising a girl, and he's teaching the girl to don't depend on the guy, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that, you know, and she doesn't see what love looks like essentially, right? I can say I've met women they didn't know how to be feminine, even though I walked in a certain way, they didn't know what it looked like, or they didn't feel comfortable getting it because they felt weak, like I was taking something from them. And I think there's some cases where there is women who they're so used to being away for so long, they don't know how to turn the switch off. And when you meet that type of guy, are you trying to control me? No, I'm not trying to control you. Let me take the, let me do my job essentially. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of sad that does happen to people. And or just to piggyback off what you said as far as being the single mother at first. That's how my mom was. Like my dad and my mom, they split. He's military. But my mom was like, we didn't have the best relationship. We're good now.
You're your dad?
Yeah, well, yeah. Like me and my dad, we're good now. And me and my mom were better now. But we didn't have the best relationship because she had to be a certain way towards me. I could not understand that. I'm like, what is your problem? Like, why are you like, what are you doing? Like, I felt like I couldn't get the nurturing that I wanted from her because she had to be so many things to me. But thank God I had my grandmother, and my grandma was able to pick up that part for me. But I didn't have that connection with my mom. Until later years, I was able to get that connection. But she told me, she's like, I thought like you didn't like me. I'm like, no, I love you. You know what I mean? It just seemed like you treated me different. Like I couldn't figure out what the problem was. And she was like, she told me the exact same thing. She's like, I had to be both. And I didn't know how to do it properly. So sometimes when I needed to be this, I had to be that. Or if I got out of line, she had to come at me tough, but nobody was there to nurture me behind it. You know what I mean? It was just confusing for her. And she just, you know, and then we kind of like, I was like, dang, I didn't even know. I didn't even know it. I was like, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But I can also say that it did something for me though. But she taught me a lot of stuff that I did learn. And when I really sat back and thought about my life and where I'm at now and how good I'm doing, it's because of her. She gave me both sides of it.
Yeah, you're gonna give up something to give that.
You're gonna give it up.
As a single parent, you got to give up some part of that parent, some aspect of being the parent, the ideal parent for that baby's survival. So you go from parenting mode to survival mode, and we have to survive.
Yeah.
So if I gotta scare him so he can be more scared of me, then out there, if I gotta, whatever I gotta do, I'm trying to get him alive to be a grown man. Then after that, we can reevaluate, you know? So that was more important to me as a divorced single mother, to make sure that my son had a positive male role model. And, you know, in that aspect, it's like, it's certain things that as a single me, I wouldn't tolerate in relationships, but you're not going as one person. You're going as a group.
Yeah.
So now, like now that, you know, me looking the way that I look, I feel like I look, you know, a certain way, and I get approached by all kind of men throughout the day, and I'm just like, nah, my man and my son don't play about me. I don't want nothing to do with nobody.
Right.
Because the amount of respect I have for my relationship, of course, is top tier. And then secondly, like, while I'm here with you right now, my son with his second daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And there's no amount of car, Birkin, Chanel bag you can give me as a mother, me, because it's only focused on me. It ain't focused on me and my son.
Right.
So you can feel how you want to feel about me. I need to see how you are with my son.
Right.
And my son don't want another stepdaddy. That's it. The stepdaddy he got, he's done.
Good
He
with
don't
it.
want no other daddy. I guarantee you, my son will be like, listen, mom, if you fuck this up with my stepdaddy, I'm gonna go live with my daddy, cause I ain't doing another daddy. You know what I'm saying? So that's a certain type of responsibility that I have as a mother, as a parent. Not only, you know, finding the love of my life, it's like what I look like entertaining anybody. When I'm sitting here, I can be here till 5 o'clock in the morning right now, and I know my son is safe, and he's gonna be ready to go to school in the morning. And if I can't get there, he's gonna go to school on time. And if I can't get there, he gonna get picked up on time. Ain't nothing you can say to me. Ain't nothing you can say to me. But you got
Strong
you
unit.
have nothing to offer me. I already got everything I want.
Strong unit.
That's a good man right there. That's a good man, Savannah.
Yeah, that's what we gotta make sure our boys, you know, start learning about it young. You know, even if they don't have the both people in the household,
Yeah.
some village or something somewhere to go to get that lesson, to know how to properly do it. Because I do think that was, I don't think it solves every issue, but I do think that especially if we can walk in properly, 90% of the time we can solve most of the issues that we have.
Yeah.
Because again, the woman, you know, I could even say, for instance, I didn't understand certain things as far as like my mind frame was to protect, but sometimes even with a woman, I feel like you need to know how to, like, let's say for instance, I got into it with my son's mom. We argue, whatever, and should we, or not actually not argue, should we going through something really really bad? My mom, I'm an engineer. My mind works to fix things. That's how my mind works. I'm resourceful. That's just fix that. It don't happen no more. Like that's how I think. So my mind looking like, well, let's focus on the problem right now. Like, cause you're hurt by something. So let's just change this, change that. And she was just like, you don't get it. I'm like, well, don't you not want to have the problem no more? I don't get it. Like, what do you mean? I don't understand. She's like, you're not there. I'm like, I'm right here. I'm right here listening to you right now. And I'm saying, Larry, you told me this. Let's just work on that. And she primarily just wanted me just to be there in the moment. And I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. You know what I mean? And I feel like I say that because between men and women, I see such a crazy disconnect. But sometimes the disconnect is just simply the communication or, you know, small stuff. Like, I think the small things that go on between us are the things that become big things down the line that we don't know how to fix. Because it happens, the small nuances for so long, eventually that small thing becomes so huge, you can't correct the issue, you can't fix it.
Because if you address every little small thing, they think you're nagging. But those small things develop into big things if you don't say nothing.
Right, but that's why communication shouldn't be looked at as a
you're a
problem.
communicator.
You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be looked at like, if I bring this up, a bad week. Like, it shouldn't. I have so many friends who tell me like, man, I want to talk to her, but shit, we're having a good day. What's gonna make the day worse? Because you talk about something. Like, it shouldn't be viewed like that. You know what I mean? Like, but a lot of people view conversation as a bad thing. But I also feel like a lot of people don't realize that every conversation is not healthy conversation.
Right, some things you don't need to say, though.
Nah, you know what I mean? If you don't know how to, like, you know, I don't know, go to counseling. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, learn how to properly communicate. I went through counseling, you know, with couple counseling. I didn't understand it. The doc, you know, not doctor, well, yeah, maybe right. Therapist told me like, hey, you're a little too, you lack empathy. You're a little too direct. And I'm like, well, I became that way because of my condition. So I have to be balanced as an individual dealing with manic depression, and I don't take medication no more. So I need to keep myself and my mind fully balanced. So I'm very analytical with my thoughts. I strategize. I move a certain way. I have to move a certain way, and I understand myself. But also being that way with a person that's emotional, like a woman, that doesn't always work. What I found, so I had to learn empathy. I can't say I feel it. It's like I don't necessarily feel it, but I know what it looks like. I know how in a situation when somebody comes to me with something. All right, now for other than me saying let's fix it, you know, well, how do you feel? What's going on? Or why do you feel the way you feel? Or what do you want me to do? Like, what do you need from me right now? Like, you know what I mean? I just ask them, what do you need from me right now? You know what I mean?
Because sometimes people don't need you to fix it.
Right. And that was my problem. I wanted to fix everything.
Yeah.
And then maybe it wasn't my job, or they already knew what to do. They just didn't want to. You needed me.
Sometimes they might, instead of needing you to fix it, they might just need somebody to understand where they're coming from. To tell them that they're not crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
And I agree, but I think that's the crazy balance between us.
Sometimes that's what they need.
But I think it's the crazy balance between men and women as well, you know, as far as like, I think the idea that women might have a men and the idea that men have about women can be kind of misconstrued in certain ways. Like, you know, you can't tell me, like, I see a lot of podcasts where I see a lot of women telling men about men. I don't understand. Like, you can talk to another woman and say, I feel like you can talk to other women and tell them, hey, look, this is how you can be this way towards your man, boom, boom, boom. But you can't tell us how we think. In the same way, we can't try to tell y'all how y'all think. But we can try to come together and figure it out how we think. So that way, it's unique to that individual. But some guys are not as dominant, but they're still masculine. Some women are not as soft, but they are. They have their different levels of softness or what they've been through, or based off their traumas. But I just feel like we get confused, or we have this idea about a person. So I had some friends of mine that they went through a crazy situation. I had to tell a homegirl, I'm like, listen, man, you're expecting something out of him that he's never displayed. Do you love him? Well, yeah. Then you have to either make a decision about the situation. Can you accept the fact that this is not how he thinks and this is not who he is? If you can't, then you probably should move on. But understand, you can't pick that guy and say, well, he did it, so you should be able to do it. Like, you can't do that, So there's assumptions, Or some women, my daddy just do that. Why aren't you doing it? Like, whoa, like, hold up, it's old school player.
Yeah, if my daddy did that, it's kind of like, what are you doing though?
I don't know. It's just, I just feel like that's a lot. Because again, I was very, very young in that time period of frame. Even we had my son and all that stuff, whatever. So I got to experience a lot of crazy stuff that I didn't know. I didn't have a man in my life. I didn't have my dad like that around me a lot. So I didn't really know how to handle that stuff. And I accepted certain things I should never have accepted. And it created anger inside of me that I didn't know I was getting. And it was, even with her, we were kids trying to figure out things. You know what I'm saying? So I just think age has nothing to do with, how emotionally or emotional intelligence.
Right. Yeah,
it has nothing to do with it. It's just your experience. How do you reflect on it, and did you take accountability?
Right.
And where are you at with this accountability?
Right.
You know what I mean? And
right.
It just saddens me. So, but I do think that again, with certain people's situations, fix your spirit. If your spirit's good, your energy feels different, your mental feels better. That it rolls into the holistic aspect of what we're talking about, as far as what you consume, what you put inside of your body. It makes you feel better. You have more energy to do more things. I offered you wine, and you're like, "Yep, I can't do more any more than that because I can't do what I can do tomorrow." Like, you know what I mean? Understanding what something does to your body is the first part.
Yeah, that's knowledge of self.
It's
not about knowledge of self. Isn't just knowing what African tribe you came from or whatever. Knowledge of self is knowing what's going to affect you and you only.
Right.
So I know that I can't drink X amounts. I know I'm not going to be productive. I know that I can't do what she do. I can't do what you do. We are all individual. That's knowledge. That's the real knowledge of self.
Right.
I think a good way to find knowledge of self is by doing the shadow work, because you have aspects of your personality that are not in the forefront, so you might not even realize it.
So that's what you call that shadow work. Okay. I know what I was. Yeah.
And it is, doing these shadow work meditations is going to show you who you really are beyond the person that you may be presenting, or a person you want to be. It's going to show you